So yeah, like if you were a fireman, say for example, right, and you're going to you know that's your job, that's your occupation. You're going to a fire, or you go to a place where there's a really bad fire, and there was people inside, but by the time you and the other people from the fire station got there, there was people that were already you know on fire, if you see what I mean, and they were you weren't able to help them. You got there just a few minutes too late. When you got there, they were all cooked, and unfortunately, very badly burnt, and lost their lives, unfortunately. But imagine being the person that's working on that, you're working on that, with those as a fireman, and you get there and you're the first person to witness that. Like you and your squad work to put the fire out, and when you finally get the fire out, you witness these charred bodies everywhere. People that have unfortunately lost their lives in a really bad fire.
Even bombs.
So imagine being the first. Imagine because we're talking about mental health. Like imagine people witness these things, and it does have an impact on people.
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, even that Twin Towers, I think, when that went down, that had a mental impact on half the world.
A lot of people, yeah.
It affected a lot of people. But can you imagine having family being in that tower? Do you know what I mean? Or being close to some of those firemen that died and all kinds, how it broke their heart for good, if you see me, forever. It took something away for them. It's like me, I find it difficult to enjoy my life as much as I want to, because I don't see my daughter anymore. It's like somebody's taken that fun away from me.
Yeah.
And I think this has a large effect on society as a whole, because I feel like we've all lost our bonds in one way or another.
Yeah.
Even from our parents through going to school day after day and so on. I think we're not naturally bonded as much as we used to be a long time ago, as a family.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of, I know, it's just strange, it's difficult, because as I say, like, when you're a child and you go to school, you start mingling with all the other children, and they start becoming a bit of your family, if you sort of mean. But, like I say, the reality of the world, with even the politics of the world, I mean, when I was talking about last week, when I look at politics or the news, it just makes me scratch my head, and I switch it off in the end, because I don't want to get any more mentally aware than I am. I feel like news, for instance, it's really not good for your mental health.
Well, yeah, especially for a lot of people, for sure.
Especially if you watch it too much.
Mate, to be honest with you, right, I know for some people this might sound quite strange, probably not for you, but I know for some people, I haven't watched the news in a long time, mate. Like, I can't remember the last time I turned on the television.
No, I don't watch it anymore either.
To say, okay, let me see what's happening on the news. All my news, anything I ever see news related is through social media.
Yeah, same here.
Something that might have popped up because it was trending or something like that, to do with some, something news, some variation of news, whether it, whatever it may be. But it's like, it's always, I can't remember the last time I told you that.
Yeah,
but there are, like you said, there are some people out there, like you said, unfortunately as well, that can watch too much of the news and stuff, and it can make them feel a little bit depressed and stuff like that. I remember when I first came back to the UK, I remember even my mum, I remember her telling me at one point, like, she was watching a lot of the news, a lot of like news clips and things that were going on and things at the time, and I remember her saying to me, like, I remember her telling me she felt depressed, like, through, watching, all this, all these things going on, and
Definitely.
So,
I mean, like I used to, when I was married now, I used to watch it sort of every day almost. And I think it's one of my biggest regrets. I wish I was doing the gardening more.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Mm.
I feel like people can enjoy their lives much more if they stay away from it.
Well, I think it's good. It's that thing of like, Okay, I can't remember who it was that said it, but I saw the actor Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
I remember one day he had an interview, yeah, I saw it a few years ago, I saw an interview with Denzel Washington, and he was talking to some news reporter, and she was asking him about the news and what his idea on politics and all these different questions and what his opinions, whatever. And one of the quotes he said was from someone else, where he quoted it, and he said, if you watch the news, no, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. But if you do watch the news, then you're ill-informed.
Same as papers as well. Newspapers.
Yeah. And that was so powerful. When he said that, I was like, that is so true. Like he said, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. But if you do watch the news, you're ill-informed. Meaning basically you're still not completely, been misled, essentially. So it's,
Yeah, I think like if you want to stay insane, keep away from it all.
I think it's just having a balance in life. It's, everyone in life, like, understanding that every day of life is going to be different. And that you're not always, like, okay, we're always happy, yeah, we're always happy, the type of people who are always kind of happy, right? But you're not, there's different variations of happy. You're not always going to wake up and be like super ecstatic, happy, singing, smile on your face all day, feeling bubbly, and yes, there are days you're going to feel like that, and that's going to be one of those days where you're in the higher level of happy, the higher scale of being happy, more, but there are days where you are still happy, but you're you're more, you might be more reserved, more quiet, more, it's, life chops and changes, so it's understanding that, and not only that, but life is not all completely dependent also on happiness too. I think this is a misconception that people have too. A lot of life is about great hardship and great pain and great kind of struggle. And I think the sooner that people understand this, the better. Like, we all have a certain amount of hardship and pain and things that we have to endure and experience in our life in order to become who we are as people, and to evolve and to grow and to change. It's not always about just being on top of the moon every single day, feeling like $1 million. Like, okay, like the prime example, like I like to always give is, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a provider, I'm a protector, as these things, like, regardless of how I feel, I get up every day and I go to work and I provide. Regardless of how I feel, I get up and I look after my children and make sure that they're okay and they've got everything they need and they're looked after and they get off to school and they, that everything in their lives is handled and taken care of and looked after. I'm a husband, so of course at the same time too, I've got to make sure that my wife is good. And
was a husband.
She's straight and she's good, and so it doesn't always matter about how you feel, because you might wake up feeling you might wake up feeling not as motivated that day as the day before. You might wake up feeling more tired, more, just more like, just like you feel like, but you're still, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how you feel. Sometimes you still have to get on and do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. And that's a part of being a man, if you see what I mean, or a woman, being an adult, if you see what I mean.
What I say is, each day I wake up, I feel like I'm being born again, and I sort of look at each day as a really beautiful gift. And really, at the end of the day, it's up to one to enjoy it. It's up to me to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And make the most of it. It really is.
Yeah.
Whether it's raining or shining.
Exactly. Yeah.
And really, a day is a special gift. We don't really realise it and how special it is and how many we get in a lifetime. I don't know, do you know what I mean? Because each lifespan varies, But I don't know how many days I got, but now I'm starting to appreciate the days I've got left, let's put it that way. Now I'm getting older and realising that, there's a lot of days in my past that could have been a lot better, and it was up to me really to make that day better than it was at the end of the day. it was my fault that I got angry that day.
Yeah.
Or my fault that I lost my temper.
Yeah.
And hit someone. Or, you know, and so on. So, you know, you really have got to blame yourself sometimes.
Well, not even sometimes, I think.
All the time.
All the time, blame yourself, because the more you do that...
Sometimes it's not your fault.
Yeah.
That, you know, like say some people get abused and they're naive and whatever, and that's not fair at all.
Of course.
But that all comes round, I feel, you know, as the whatever. Like, so there's even that. I mean, I was talking last week about my girlfriend who really got sexually abused and how that mentally affected her.
Of course,
and how that
trauma.
Also mentally affected me in a funny way, you know. And it does everyone. Yeah. It does everyone.
And they have to live with that trauma. A lot of these people don't understand. Especially when you're people who are, you know, when they're in their adolescence, when they're a child and they're adolescents and they get abused, whether it be physically, sexually, etc. These children, you know, people go on to remember these things for the rest of their life and have to deal with it for the rest of their life. So essentially, it is affecting their mental health for the rest of their life, whether it be through PTSD, whether it be through whatever, depression, or, you know, it's, you know, people don't realise that when, you know, there's... People need to understand, all the people out there who, you know, you need to understand that when these people out there that commit these atrocities to other people, when you do these things, you need to understand that you are inflicting trauma that is almost unrepairable for some people. Some people do not. Some people do not recover. Some people do not come out the other side of it in a good place, and sometimes it destroys families, it destroys...
So unfortunately, the people that kind of do these things are the people that have not been loved ever by parents and things like that, or other circumstances maybe, you know, but that's generally the case. Believe it or not, I don't know the percentage in Great Britain, say, a lot of people got abused, right? Not necessarily in a sexual way, or one way or another, or they've been violated in their life, you know, and I feel like I personally been violated so many times. Even going to school, I felt like that was a violation, you know, it was, they didn't ask me, you know, even though I'm a child, I'm a person, I'm a human, you know, and they separate, I feel like they separate, you know, I'm a little human being and I should have the right to sort of say, I don't want to go to school, I want to stay at home with my mum.
Yeah.
You know, but they take your rights away in a kind of way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a violation all the time. You know, like I say, my personal opinion, I did not want to go to school full stop, and I don't feel like it done me any good. I feel like I would have been more intelligent if I didn't go. But anyway, I did have to go, and I was forced to go there. And I don't feel like I feel like a lot of children feel the same. You know, I'm not the only one that was the same. I just feel like I was sort of hijacked from my family.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was my life over in a kind of way.
That's true.
You know, I mean, when's your childhood over? When you go to school?
I think don't get me wrong, I think people, a lot of times people take small parts of their childhood into their adulthood, if you see what I mean, and that's okay. Certain things that are nostalgic or have some kind of nostalgia that, you know, that's associated to a wonderful memory that they might have of a loved one, or something, you know, great that happened in their life at that particular time or that day or whatever, and that's fine. But I personally think, and I know some people might not agree with this, and that's fine, this is just my opinion, I believe that once you become of a certain age and you mature and you start to have responsibilities, it's time to put those things behind. It's time to leave those things behind. It's time to evolve. It's time to move on to the next stage of your life. You going from being, from your adolescence to a teenager to becoming an adult human being. And once you become of a certain age, especially like once you get over the age of 25, I think for me, anyone over the age of 25, you need to start taking life seriously. You know, it's not about being a child anymore. It's about you know, making the most of your life, you know, while you're here, essentially, you know, because even though you might think you're only in your 20s and you're very young and you're immortal and you're going to live forever, because when you're young you don't really think about immortality and things like this naturally, but it goes very quickly. We all know this. Time flies. You know, any older person that you ever speak to will most of them will always tell you the same thing. Enjoy your life. You know, make the most of it. You know, do as much as you can. Make as much memories as you can, because it goes very, very quickly. If you see
Well,
what
I've lived over 50 years and it's whizzed by. You know, I could almost sort of think of it like for like a second even of time. Quite weird. Yeah, I think time goes quicker than we imagine it does, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not really here for that long, you know, and sometimes I wonder why we're at war or whatever, you know, when we're not here for that long. Anyway, if you see, we're all going to die anyway.
Yeah, people are worried about nonsense, pointless shit. That's how I know it's all orchestrated, because it's like any human being with common sense like understands exactly what you just said, that one principle. We're all human beings, none of us are immortal. Our time is going to come one day anyway. We might as well work together for the betterment of mankind, to improve our lives even more, you know. So. Anyway, mate, before we call it a night and wrap it up, you know, for this week's episode, all about
mental health.
Any final words, any closing statements, anything important that you want to leave with the people in regards to this week's topic that is very, very imperative and very, very important, you know, very, very important conversation and discussion to be had, you know?
Well, I just think it's important, really, to enjoy your life if you can. Enjoy each day if you can. Aim for that. And like I say, aim to even go for a walk. Don't matter where. Walking's good for you, and it clears anger, clears frustration. Try to meditate each day, as you said. And understand that we're all living in the same world, I feel, and we've all got kind of mental, you know, they might be a bit different, but we've all got our own
battles.
We've all got our own battles to bear in the future, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like stay strong is another one.
Yeah.
Keep yourself strong. Make sure you eat the right food, and drink plenty of water as well. Clean water.
Exercise.
I wouldn't drink tap water anymore either. You know, drink some sort of
spring water.
Yeah.
And exercise as well. That's something I want to touch on very briefly as well, because obviously, as we all know as well, and it's also been scientific. I think now today it's actually even been scientifically proven as well, actually, that exercise is so important and vital when it comes to mental health. Even you know, physical exercise. You know, it makes people feel better, etc. But not only that, but it releases the chemicals within your brain. You know, when you're exercising, getting enough, you know, like you said, eating well, drinking the right things, getting enough exercise, enough sunlight, getting out into nature. You know, all these things contribute to having a healthy mental health. You know, not only a physical, you know, healthy physical vessel, but a healthy mental.
So I mean, many people are trapped in jobs they don't want to go in, right? Or they're just sitting down in their office every day. Then they go home sitting down in their car, and then they're sitting down on the sofa and they're laying in their bed. And it's just not enough there. You know, some people are stuck in that kind of world. I mean, some people do work in an office and they go home and exercise. Some people do, you know. But it depends what job you got out there. There's so many different kinds of jobs. Some people are sort of working on the roofs, going up and down ladders, you know, and doing exercise every day. I'm glad to get home to bed, if you sort of mean. I mean, I used to work doing that, you know, doing that job, or being a hod carrier. So I kind of know what that kind of work is, you know. And I'll tell you what, when I used to come home to bed, I used to collapse like that.
Yeah, pass out.
Yeah, it's not like it's working in a sweet shop or anything. You know, you're lifting quite a few tons every day, if you sort of mean, of weight. I mean, I've done removals as well, and that was a good exercise. I mean, that's why I did it really. I did it really rather than paying for weight training, get paid for doing it by lifting heavy stuff, you know, you have got to use your mind really. So, I mean, I used to enjoy that job doing removals because I knew that I was going in for my exercise, you know, my spec session, if you see what I mean. And I'd get money for doing it at the end of it. So, it was good rewards.
Yeah.
And one more thing I'd say is try to aim for something in life, you know, like say, like, aim for something that you enjoy doing. Because I think that's what life's really all about, just trying to enjoy each day. And don't ruin it by getting upset, because it won't be a very good memory to remember in the future in a kind of way. You know, it's all about making enjoyable days, I feel.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Not having anything nasty going on in that day. Keeping it perfect as you can. I mean, personally, alright, I'll just say one more thing. I try to keep myself. I mean, I used to sort of be quite sociable, actually, quite friendly with people, I must admit.
Yeah.
You know, go out and buy drinks and talk to anyone or anyone. But I've changed now, you know, where I keep myself safe from people in a kind of way, you know, and I don't really want a big circle of friends, to be honest with you, you know. I feel like if you have too many friends, that makes, you know, you've got more to think about, and it's not really good for your mental health, really. You've got, like I say, you've got to keep balance, find balance. Have so many friends, I feel, that you can trust, and you don't really need much more than that in life, you know. You don't need many, you know, I don't feel like you can have too many friends in life, because that's when things start going wrong. I feel like if you've got too many friends, you know, I think it can start going a little bit. I mean, in the past, I've had lots of friends around me, you know, and I can remember having trouble because of it, if you see what I mean, or you just can't think of so many people, if you see what I mean. You know, it's just best to keep it small, I feel, and simple.
Minimalist.
Yeah. I mean, I personally know what I enjoy eating, you see, you know, and I know what I want, you know, I kind of got a routine where I go to the shop and I just know exactly what I want to buy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to complex it more and make a lot of other stuff, you see, and I just like keeping my life as simple as possible. You know, eat a few bananas, drink a bit of water, you know, but just keep it simple, I think. And I'm aiming to keep it, you know, get it even more simple in my life in the future, to be honest with you.
I think all I want to say and really leave with the people very quickly before we wrap it up and call it a night. Just look after your mental health.
It's important.
Not only important to look after your physical health and get exercise and eat well and all these things. Look after your mental. Do different things that help you, you know, to relieve any stress or anything that, you know.
Sex is good for you.
Yeah, that too. All these different things too. But essentially find things that can are stress relievers, if you see what I mean, in your life, where you're able to have downtime so that you have time to recharge, you have time to reflect, like I said earlier, and you have time to reevaluate your day, your life, your decisions you've made, things that are going on in your life, you know, all these different things. It's very, very important. So do your very best to look after not only your physical health but your mental health, so that you'll be functioning at, you know, at a top, you know, at a high level, if you see what I mean. You know, you'll be able, you're being, you know, you should always, like I always say to people, you're supposed to be in control of your mind and your body, not the other way around. Your body and your mind are not supposed to be controlling you, if you see what I mean. Your mind is supposed to control your mind and your body, so your mind and your body will do what you tell it to do. So if you decide today that you want to fast and not eat any food, then you're going to be fine without eating, or, you know, or anything you're going to do is drink water, and then again tomorrow morning you're going to eat, then you'll be fine.
You don't really want anyone else controlling you either.
You got to, you know, it's about being in control. You know, don't allow external things to control you, if you see what I mean. But yeah, like I was saying, just look after your mental health. Try your best to stay grounded. Try your best to stay humble. Try your best to keep, good people around you, family, friends, loved ones, and people that really love you and care about you, and likewise, of course.
Try to do the right thing.
Try to do the right thing, and try to be the best version of yourselves at all times, every single day of life. And that is a hard task, but it is very worth it. You'll become the best version of yourself in that process, and that's an amazing thing to experience and to go through. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode. Of course, all about mental health. We'll be back again next week with a brand new episode, so please stay tuned for that. Via the Philosophy Podcast. Good night. God bless. One love. Take care of your mental health. Yeah.